Subscribe to this channel right now if you value hard-earned, field-tested knowledge that connects ancient practice with real-world survival and husbandry wisdom. Because what I am about to share is not a trend, not a gimmick, and not modern theory dressed up as tradition. I buried plain cardboard in my soil, following clues left behind by historical land stewards, medieval farmers, and early husbandmen. And what happened next challenged almost everything I thought I knew about soil, fertility, and resilience. The moment I decided to bury cardboard was rooted in historical husbandry rather than curiosity. Long before synthetic fertilizers, plastic tarps, or chemical soil conditioners, farmers had to manage weeds, moisture, pests, and fertility using whatever organic materials were at hand. In estate records from medieval Europe and colonial farm journals, there are repeated references to paper waste, parchment scraps, straw paper, and fibre sheets being buried or layered beneath soil. Cardboard is simply the modern descendant of those materials, compressed plant fibre bound together, and I wanted to see whether the old logic still held true under modern conditions. What actually happens underground after cardboard is buried is where the shock begins. Once placed beneath a thin layer of soil, the cardboard immediately changes the soil environment. It blocks light, starving weed seeds of the energy they need to sprout, while still allowing air and water to pass through slowly. Within days, moisture is held longer in the soil, especially in hot or dry climates, mimicking the moisture-retaining effects of forest floor litter that ancient farmers relied on when clearing woodland for cultivation. Within weeks, soil life responds in a way that is impossible to fake. Earthworms are drawn to the cellulose fibres, pulling fragments of the cardboard deeper into the soil profile. Fungi begin colonizing the buried sheet, creating white thread-like networks that bind loose soil together. This fungal growth is the same mechanism that sustained medieval ridge and furrow fields and early pasture land, improving soil structure without ploughs or additives. As the cardboard softens, it becomes food, not waste. One of the most surprising outcomes was how dramatically soil compaction changed. Areas that were previously hard, cracked, and resistant to digging became crumbly and workable. Historically, this mirrors how subsistence farmers improved heavy clay soils without iron tools or animal-drawn ploughs. By burying fibrous material beneath the surface, they allowed microbial activity to do the work of loosening soil naturally. Modern gardeners often fight compaction aggressively, but, this older approach works quietly and persistently. Nutrient cycling is another lesson hidden in this practice. Cardboard itself does not act as fertilizer in the immediate sense, but it feeds the organisms that make nutrients available. As microbes break down the fibers, they release locked-up minerals already present in the soil. This explains why historical farms could remain productive for centuries without imported fertilizers. The soil was not fed directly. It was taught how to feed itself. When applying this today, you'll want to bury cardboard beneath garden beds before planting heavy-feeding crops like squash, maize, or brassicas, allowing several weeks for decomposition to begin. Pest behavior also shifts in notable ways. In my own soil, burrowing rodents avoided areas where cardboard was layered, likely due to the change in soil density and fungal activity. Historical husbandry texts often mention fibre barriers beneath granaries and root gardens, not to trap pests, but to discourage them. Cardboard performs a similar role when placed beneath soil rather than on top, especially when combined with compacted earth above it. There is also a moisture regulation effect that deserves attention. During dry periods, soil above buried cardboard remains cooler and damp longer, while during heavy rains, water drains slowly rather than pooling. This balance was critical to pre-industrial agriculture, where crop failure often meant starvation. By recreating this layered soil system, modern growers can apply ancient risk management techniques to unpredictable climates. Applying this knowledge today is straightforward but requires intention. Use plain, uncoated cardboard with no inks or tape. Lay it flat on prepared ground, overlap edges to prevent gaps, and cover it with soil or compost to a depth suitable for planting. For historical accuracy and effectiveness, allow time before planting so the underground ecosystem can activate. This mirrors fall soil preparation practices used for centuries, where land was prepared long before seeds ever touched the ground. What shocked me most was not that it worked, but how closely the results matched historical descriptions of fertile, resilient land. This was not innovation. It was recovery of forgotten husbandry logic. The soil became quieter, darker, richer, and more alive, all without chemicals, machines, or modern intervention. That is the kind of knowledge that lasts. If this kind of grounded, historically informed survival and husbandry insight matters to you, subscribe now, share this with others who care about enduring knowledge, and stay with this channel as we continue uncovering practices that have already stood the test of centuries.